Here are the 5 reasons Spider-Man 2 may just be Game of the Year. Number 1. Peter is rocking the fattest wagon you're likely to see all year. Forget saving New York. These cheeks could cure worldwide depression. Number 2. Venom, and every single one of those 19 inches. Number 3, you get to play as 2 Spider-Men, Peter and Miles, or as my nephew calls him, Black Spider-Man, because of the colour of his suit obviously. Number 4, Black Cat is literally the hottest woman alive. Oh my
Spider wants to play, huh?
Yes. And finally, the new movement mechanics. While web wings, slingshots and web lines are nice, the new mechanic I'm talking about is obviously riding a bike. Nothing gets those calves burning and heart pumping like taking up way too much room on the road. So it was time to crack open a packet of hobnobs, pop a couple of Viagra, and consume peak gaming. We start off in a classroom where Miles is fisting his boy and hits a girl in front of him with some stone-cold sign language riz. Peter bursts in, the new teacher of this class, ready to educate. Miles hops up to use the restroom, but asks Peter to come with him because Spider Bros always cross swords for good luck. No, obviously it's because there's an immediate threat to the city, but surprisingly, it's not your mother's beef curtains. As I swing for the first time, I see the Viagra was unnecessary, because it feels so good to be back. As we get closer to the threat, sand is everywhere, so I think it's pretty obvious to tell that we're going to be fighting Green Goblin. Sandman is a big lad, and the worst kind of enemy type to face on a Monday morning because you'll have sand in your gooch for the rest of the week. Peter dives headfirst into his nose. I'm not sure what the plan was here, but Sandman just throws us into a building. We then have to fight a load of sand men, which I'm not really sure how this makes sense. Who are these people? Are they sentient? What do they order at Subway? Are they his sand seamen? So many questions. After a bit of fighting, we discover that the man of sand is weak to water. So now the plan is simple. Make him wet, which is a lot harder than you think, and then have Miles electrocute him using his venom powers. Suddenly we're playing as Miles, and Sandman also throws him, but did you see how much further he threw him? That felt racially charged. I've actually been in a sandstorm before once in my life. Basically, me and the boys were tanning at the beach, rubbing sunscreen on one another, when this 20-foot crab emerged from nowhere. It queefed so hard and created a sandstorm. I stood up and told the boys, I've got this, as I walked over to the crab and with one punch, knocked it out. The people of the beach wiped away their tears, let their fear go, began clapping for me, and the beach was even renamed after me. Right, so I'm out of sand jokes now, so I guess I'll just skip to the part where Miles backshots Peter to supercharge an electronic voltage to bring down the big sandy boy. The next 30 minutes also just introduced basic side quests and activities, which consisted of me beating up people in the sand, so it was basically just the average day of a worker in Qatar. There is, however, a cameo from Omni-Man, which I never expected to see in Spider-Man. This was crazy, as he was also in his civilian clothes. So Genki knows that Peter is also Spider-Man, but so does this deaf girl, Haley. At first I was pressed about her knowing, because we need to keep this a secret, but then I thought, well, who's she gonna tell? The entire sign language community is gonna go crazy for this news. Peter ends up getting fired from his teaching job after a poor performance on his first day, and while he may be sad that he's just lost his job, at least he can console himself in his boulder-sized dump truck. Oh, that's sick. Woo, look at the back. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so obsessed with looking at Peter's ass. Oh. 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 Cross tiles. I see the black one. Oh my god.
I'll get you, Spider-Man. Well, look who's in the neighborhood. There you go.
2 enemies with throwables. Can do. Oh, hey Miles. What's going on? There's 2 bros chilling in the same crime. 5 feet apart because they're not gay. Get him, Miles. Yeah, get him, Miles. You can do the point. So they actually added queens to this game, which is a nice touch to escape the city and see all the features of white suburbia, like Mexicans gardening, a jobless woman doing yoga on a Monday afternoon, and a squirrel who I save from getting run over, because that's what being Spider-Man is really all about. We meet MJ at Aunt May's house, and Jesus Christ, we are really out here fighting crime all day, just to come home to this? No, I'm kidding. I don't actually understand the discourse about MJ's face. She looks pretty normal to me. I think the real issue is 90% of the fan accounts on Twitter complaining about this haven't felt the touch of a real woman before. We take a quick look around the house and then get to cleaning spoiled fruit and old Chinese takeout, as being Peter, the house husband, is what we all really crave in a Spider-Man game. There is, however, war crimes being committed right inside this house. I mean, I get it, your aunt died and you've been busy with Spider-Man stuff, Peter, but that's still no excuse to have 2 kettles when we're currently in an energy crisis. You're out here wondering why your energy bill is through the roof, and it's because Peter Parker wants to boil 2 pots of tea at the same time, the greedy bugger. Eventually old mate Harry turns up after not being seen for months. Peter's all like, are you feeling better, bruv? And Harry says, yes G, this halal diet got me feeling right as rain. I'm on the road to recovery. He then whips out our old bikes and I get a little too excited.
Just
You and that bum-ass leg, Harry.
In between getting
You're gonna beat me. Somehow he's beating me. Oh, this is my moment of the year. A bike ride with Harry and Peter while Cigarette Daydream plays in the background. Probably my favourite moment. That made me so happy. Harry takes us on a trip down memory lane where we flash back to being 16 years old, sneaking around the school trying to find a thumb drive. Being 16 is such a weird age. You go through so many changes, both body and mind. Suddenly the local priest isn't interested in you anymore, and you're approaching that last part of your school life. Truly a tough time. While we're here, we shoot some hoops on the court, where I absolutely cook Harry as everything I shoot is money. Yes, Peter does have superhuman abilities, and Harry is recovering from a life-threatening illness, but I'll still celebrate this tremendous dub. Flashback to being kids, where at the end of this night, he reveals that something awful has happened to Harry's mother. Yes, that's right, she started playing Valorant. At the end of this trip down memory lane, Harry offers Peter a job at his new company, the Emily May Foundation. So this was a weird job interview, but not the weirdest I've ever had. This other job interview started out on a black synthetic leather couch in my living room. Yeah, that's right, they came to my house to interview me. So weird. Anyway, I then got pounded for 30 minutes on my knowledge of the stock market, and just as we were closing up things, the interviewer came into my kitchen and started eating yogurt from my fridge. A strange interview indeed, and my second favourite, behind the time I auditioned to be on the casting couch. Speaking of casting couches, Miles' mum then reveals that she's getting her cheeks clapped and wants Miles to meet the guy. Who is this man? Because I am jealous. This woman is A-tier muff. With the thought of his mother getting railed, Miles pops off to help Peter on an escort mission with Scorpion's transfer. Thankfully, it's not actually an escort mission, as shit hits the fan when Craven and his army turn up, ready to steal Scorpion. SMH, this is so unfair, treating this man like he's an object. Has it ever occurred to anyone to ask Scorpion what he wants? Anyway, I've been playing this game on the hardest difficulty because I'm compensating, and the combat so far has been pretty easy. However, with the introduction of Craven's people, there was an introduction of parrying, and I began getting my shit cooked. You know, some say this is actually like the Dark Souls of the Spider-Man series. So as much as we tried to stop him, big man Craven got his way and ended up stealing Scorpion and Martin Lee from us. It's honestly a little hurtful he didn't try to take Miles or Peter too. I mean, what's wrong with my sweet boys? They're also mutated freaks. Isn't that his whole thing? Miles was absolutely distraught that Martin Lee got away, as he's never forgiven him for that time he gave him a terrible recommendation for Indian food. He has to put all that to the back of his mind though, as it's school time, and it's time to impress at the club fair for a college scholarship. We drop in, dap up a random girl, read about safe sex, but who needs that when you can cuddle Ganky all night, and get rizzed up by a girl using both astronomy and cake. We don't stick around for too long though, as we overhear about a missing teacher. For some reason, she was taken by a gang, I don't really remember why or how, but we return her safely to her workplace, and for some reason, not her home. She was kidnapped. She's probably just gone through the most traumatizing experience of her life. But no, forget that, there's a class to teach at 2:30. We also help out one of the students who wanted to ask his boy to homecoming. We help him set the whole thing up and guide his boy all the way to the courtyard for a big finish where he drops the question. His boy says yes and agrees to go to homecoming with him. A real wholesome moment. Nothing truly makes me more happier than gay teenage interracial love. Back with Peter, we went to visit the Emily May Foundation to see what this job would really be all about. I had fun messing about with the science equipment, like committing bee genocide using a killer bee drone, and practicing my wrist movements on the Wanktacular 9000. I'm not gonna lie though, listening to all these scientists brag about their stats and how they're saving the world definitely made for the most boring part of the game.
You're on track to end world hunger by 2035.
Damn bro, that's crazy.
I knew a rooftop you could use.
Peter was indeed unsure about this job until Harry showed him his desk, a dual monitor setup so he can play old school RuneScape while he works, a plant for oxygen, and a chair with sufficient back support. Peter agrees to work there. Peter then does some work tracking down Craven in one of his bases, figuring out what he's actually doing here in New York. It's all well and good for the story, but I know why you guys are really here, so let's skip forward to the Miles and Black Cat mission. So we heard a rumor that Black Cat was back, which Miles confirms by tracking her down using the smell of her feet. I've never wanted to be Spider-Man so bad. When we find her, she's teleporting about the place using portals. We chase her through New York, swinging and portaling around the place, which was just an excuse for Insomniac to reuse the tech from Ratchet & Clank: A Rift Apart. But I'm here for it. This was sick. She even teleports us to the Antarctic briefly, which was really irresponsible. Imagine I wasn't wearing this puffer jacket. I could have caught a chill. When we finally give her some catnip and get her to chill out, we receive the most heartbreaking news I've heard all year. Top tier muff.
My girlfriend's in Paris.
Girlfriend.
Got her into trouble with some guy.
So over. There's not much time to be caught up in our feelings though, as Craven's cock gobblers roll up, ready to steal Black Cat. I was fighting for my life. Not literally for my life, but for her, as Craven was really handsome, and if she ever saw him, this would all officially be over for us. Miles even gains some confidence and gets the message here, and begins dropping some sea lion riz on Black Cat.
Did you know sea lions can swim up to 25 miles per hour?
Let's go, Miles. Riz. Impeccable riz from Miles. So after fighting Craven's men for a little while, we eventually stop them, and then have to break our own heart once again, and help Black Cat go all the way back to Paris to her girlfriend. Not that you need me to tell you this, but god, this game is some top quality shit. I mean, I didn't think anything was going to compete with Baldur's Gate and Zelda, but this may just have nudged itself into the conversation for Game of the Year. Thank you to Sean for editing, thank you to you for watching, I love you all, and just remember, it's never gay to kiss the homies goodnight.